Energy expense savings are one of the biggest contributors to the business case for sustainability projects. Looking at the three justifications that frame the business case for any sustainability project, the energy expenses savings fit into the capturing of opportunities. Savings in a number of areas can help with that, but what we are going to be looking at in this one are the energy savings. Energy can be a significant expense, not only for energy-intensive industries, but even for non-energy-intensive industries. It can be a significant proportion of their revenue or their operating profit. So if we can save some money in that area, that could be quite significant. It's an important enough area that many companies have already set goals for themselves to be able to reduce their energy expense. Some of it is pretty straightforward. Some of it is more specifically related to buildings or use of electricity that they want to reduce, or carbon footprint reduction things, or reducing their byproducts of the energy. So lots of different goals associated with this, but the key thing is that they want to be able to save money on something which is sometimes called the low-hanging fruit. There are 4 low-hanging fruit associated with sustainability projects. That's saving money on your energy, your water, your material, and your waste. And energy is certainly an important one of those 4. So one of the areas that companies very often focus on is the energy that they're using in their buildings. And one of the big drivers towards LEED standard buildings, especially in North America, is the fact that depending on the level of LEED certification, you could save up to 37% or so of the energy costs associated with that building. So most companies have set targets for themselves on renewable energy, greenhouse gas reduction. A lot of that is because of the focus, of course, on climate change and being able to address that effectively. But the nice byproduct of that is that they're saving a lot of money. So you see here that a number of companies are saving millions of dollars a year on their energy bill simply by being smarter about how they use their lighting, their HVAC systems, their building envelopes, all of those kinds of things. So what we're talking about here is just reducing waste in some ways and being smarter about being able to save energy that previously was in many cases unnecessarily wasted. So let's just back this list up with about a dozen examples of how companies are saving money and how much they're saving on energy. So IBM, 126 million over 4 years, lots of projects in lots of countries. MAERSK, driven mostly by their intent to reduce their carbon emissions, their CO2, they've saved 1.6 billion in fuel costs. BAXTER, 91.1 million in their lean energy program. And note that this is employee-led. And very often that's the secret sauce in these programs. You get green teams that are helping you find these opportunities. General Electric, similar kind of thing with employee-led treasure hunts, found a lot of energy opportunity savings for energy opportunities. And they extended it into other institutions in the area where they were located as well. So leveraging that knowledge and that expertise to help others reduce their energy. AT&T, 44 million. And the nice thing about it is very often these companies are very specific about what it was they did to be able to realize those. So this is not a secret on how to do it. Walmart, huge scale opportunities. So they saved $1 million a year just by removing one light bulb from soft drink machines in all of their employee break rooms. So you get into scale and the savings can be quite significant. General Electric, 73 million in energy costs. And in addition to that, they now want to start looking at renewable energy. Procter & Gamble, $386,000 a year, and their target is to increase that as well. And again, they show the ways in which they are going to accomplish those reductions. XEROX, lots of opportunity there. Johnson & Johnson, $30 million annually, and this did not slow them down at all. Their sales went up a significant amount, over 300% in the same period of time. Marriott, this is the green building kind of approach, lots of retrofits, especially on lighting. So more and more companies are starting to get into this without huge outlays of cost, and it's really starting to pay off. This is a little company in Cambridge, Ontario. It's a metal fabricating company. Significant reductions in both electricity use and natural gas use. 42 projects over 3 years, and it not only reduced their electricity and natural gas expenses, but it also increased their profits by 76% with a very low or small short payback period, less than, well, just a little around half a year. And the nice thing is that Paul Rack, the CEO, hasn't stopped. He's continued on, and you'll see that he's had significant savings, over $2 million over a significant period of time, but some of that is coming from electricity and natural gas, some from maintenance, which is a nice product of the electricity reductions, and some benefits from the fact that his company employees are more attracted and more loyal to the company because they're excited about these kinds of initiatives. Paul was driven really by the desire to reduce his carbon footprint, but the nice thing is that there are significant savings as well on his operating expenses. In addition to all of these savings that companies realize, as they start to get their energy consumption lower and lower as a result of all of their initiatives, sometimes employee-led initiatives, they start to consider changing the source of their energy from traditional sources, in many cases coal-fired generation plants, to renewable energy. So this is really the two-step process that is suggested by the RE100, Renewable Energy 100%, group of companies that first of all pursue energy efficiency measures through all of the kinds of things we've talked about, and then they deploy clean energy to supply the energy that they still require. And the nice thing is that distributed energy, whether it's wind or solar, is becoming much more cost attractive, even at a utility scale. So as companies start to get into this, they'll realize that over the last few years, the price of these things has dropped like a stone. So the cost of wind has dropped almost 70% since 2009, and the cost of solar has dropped over 86% since 2009. So we're talking about a very much more cost competitive source of electricity. And this graph shows how onshore wind and photovoltaics have become significantly more cost competitive than they used to be compared to nuclear, coal, and even natural gas. So over time, these are becoming more financially attractive as well as environmentally attractive sources of energy. So there are organizations that are mapping out the possibilities for us to totally wean ourselves off fossil fuels within the next period of time, maybe up till 2050, and replace those sources of energy with solar, with wind, with offshore wind, with hydro. So there are alternatives that are becoming more cost competitive, more doable, and this isn't mission impossible anymore. We can actually wean ourselves off fossil fuels, which of course are the root source of a lot of our concerns about climate change. And as it becomes evident that switching to 100% renewable energy is doable, there are states and even countries that are starting to say, you know what, we're going to do that. So Costa Rica going to be 100% renewable energy by 2021, Denmark 100% by 2050, and so on. So there are more and more countries that are starting to put a stake in the ground and say, we're going to get there. It's smart for the environment, it's smart for the economy, it's just flat out smart. So what we're talking about here is not only reducing how much energy you're using, but also starting to look at alternative sources of energy as part of your package of sustainability initiatives. So as we try to put together the benefits for these proposals, we're tapping into some of the potential benefits, and this is the superset of all of the benefits that are possible for sustainability projects to tap into. Energy is one of the potential areas of benefit, but it's a very significant one, and one that most projects have an opportunity to tap into. So as you're trying to estimate how much reduction of energy is possible, there are different ways in which you can get some guidance on what that reduction might be. So it's the same set of estimation tips that apply to any of those benefits. So there are 7 areas. First of all, you talk to the data owners, the people that own the information about how much energy you're using now. Usually it's the folks in operations, or it could be also the people in finance strategy or research and development. Or you may have already had some initiatives like this, and you can start to extrapolate from those or from others in your sector and their experience, or from fellow members of organizations that are on the same wavelength that you are, or tap into research papers or some combination of all of those things that give you some information that are from meta studies of what's been going on in this area for the last little while. Within the worksheets and workbooks that are associated with my business cases for sustainability, there's a fair amount of information and guidance within the comment boxes associated with the energy reduction opportunities. And you may also find that you may just have to do a swag. Very often the percentage improvement is going to be a lot more than zero, but you want to be conservative and ensure that you protect your credibility with your estimates. So this is not a solo game. This is a group game, a team game, and the more people that you can have engaged in making these estimates with you, the more credible you're going to be. And that means the more credible your business case is going to be, and that means the more opportunity we have to have sustainability initiatives supported by the decision makers. So I encourage you to give this a good consideration. This is a good one, and one that I think you'll find has enormous potential in your business case for sustainability. And